Hey everyone, welcome back to Hacky Lessons for another One Piece deck profile, and today we're going to take a look at the Red Purple Law fresh out of the new Ultimate deck. Now, Law is probably the best leader, at least right now. I think that in the current meta, so OP04.5, now that the Ultimate deck is out, Law is the most usable until Set 5 comes out. Set 5 comes out with a lot of support for all three leaders. It makes all of them better, even Law, but I feel that this is the best time to play Law because once Set 5 does come out, there are a few matchups that are a little bit harder for Law, especially Black Blue Sakazuki, which is going to be everywhere. It's a very popular deck, it seems. So I think right now is the best time to play Red Purple Law. And so what this leader does is activate main once per turn, Don -3. So return 3 Don back to your Don deck, and then you may place up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less at the bottom of their deck, and then you get to play a character of your own for a cost of 4. So this is a real good board control leader, so you remove their field at the same time as building yours up. So things you're going to want to do with this deck is have a lot of power reduction so you can hit bigger targets on your opponent's field, return them to the bottom of the deck with the leader ability. And then you're going to want to play cards that are going to give you value. So the problem with Don -3 is you don't have much Don left after that. So you're going to want to play some cards that will put Don back onto your field. There's some good ones that come in the Ultimate deck for that. And then you're going to just want to put some good value cards like, for example, Rush Zoro or the Law SR that comes in the Ultimate deck, which is going to be a purple staple from now on. It's a very good card. So let's take a look at the build. So I've got 3 types of cards in this deck. Cards that reduce power, cards that will ramp my Don back up, and then just plain old value cards. So looking at the first card in the deck, it is 4 copies of the Promo Gordon. Bad luck if you don't own any of this because it's pretty hard to get these days. So that's unfortunate, but you can just replace that with something else. It won't be as good, but we do what we do. OP06, there's a card coming out that's just a common that is basically the exact same card, so you can wait till then, but otherwise, you're out of luck. So Gordon, he costs 1, and then he activate mains, reduces something by 3,000, and bottom decks himself. So this lets you use your leader ability on character cards that have 6,000 power because you can minus them down to 3, and that puts them in range of your leader's ability. So 4 copies of Gordon, very similar effect. Otama is on play, minusing something 2,000, so that is a 2k counter. So you're not always going to want to do that because you want her as a 2k counter as well. So this is where Law comes into play because he is basically the same thing as Otama, on play, minus something by 2,000, but then he is a 5,000 power attacker. The important thing to note, nothing in this deck, absolutely nothing, costs more than 4. I find, at least the way that I've been playing it, you get the most value by using your leader ability every single turn. So that does mean if you don't get all the ramp cards every time, maybe your Don starts to get a little bit, you don't have much. So you're not going to want to play anything that costs more than 4 because it's not likely you'll have more than 4. Another thing to note, the deck felt better when I had Nami in it. Unfortunately, Nami is banned until Set 5, and at that point I wouldn't put her in anyway because then I'd put more of a Heart Pirates engine in. But the Straw Hats in here are not searchable because there's no Nami for this month. So moving on, those were the on-play, essentially, characters. One of our 2k counters in deck is Jinbei. So he is a 2 cost with 2,000 power, and when attacking, he can give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power. So it's not ideal because you don't want to play your 2k counters all the time, and then you need to attach 3 Don for him to be a strong enough attack to hit a leader, and he's only minusing them by 2,000. But that is why I also have in the deck a very similar card, and this is from Set 3. It is Flamenco. So he's a Whitebeard pirate. He has 3,000 power, only 1,000 counter, and then he has the exact same ability. So if you have both of these in your hand, you're going to want to play this Flamenco instead because you want the Jhove as a 2k counter, but Jhove does the trick as well. And very similar, except this one hits 2 characters at the same time. We've got Baruch. So he's from set 1, and he costs 4, has 5,000 power. Don times 1, when attacking, give 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power. So that is very valuable. And then finally, for power reduction, 2 copies of Round Table. Now, you could bump it up to more if you felt you needed to, but I don't want it to be too clunky. So this is something you hold in reserve for when your opponent gets a big character on board. You can deal with it very easily. Minus it by 10,000, and then use your leader ability. Boom! Like, that's going to hit anything. There is nothing in this game with 14,000 power, so that is what would be required for this card not to be able to hit them with your leader ability as in addition. That is all the power reduction, and that's about half the deck. So looking at the ramp cards now, and we have 4 copies of Beppo. He is probably my favorite, so he is on play and when attacking. If you have less Don than your opponent, he'll put a Don in rest mode. So if you can manage to keep him on board a little bit, he'll really help replenish your Don. Gene Bart is possibly the better one, depending on how you play. You need to sequence him correctly. So what he does on play, you need to pay a Don and he'll put a Don in active. So basically, let's say you're not using your leader ability to play him, you're just hard casting him. You need 5 Don. So you pay him for 4 and then you pay that 1 Don. And then you get that Don back in active. So in this regard, you're doing the same thing. You're getting a extra Don and you have the same amount of Don standing as you did before you played him. But if you sequence him incorrectly, it's not going to work. If you tap out, you won't be able to do it with your leader ability. And you also want to think about what are you going to do with that Don. So if you can manage to play him before attacking with your leader, you can attach the Don to your leader. But the problem is, a lot of the times when you do your leader ability, you do it after you've attacked because you don't want to hit a trigger that's going to KO something that you just played or whatever. And it really depends on how you can sequence it. But also, the last 2k counter, so there's 12 2k counters all up, but this is Sachi and Penguin, and he literally only works in this deck because, so he costs 4, on play, if you have 3 or less Don, add 2 Don in rest. So this is very good value because you're minusing 3 with your leader, you play this, you get 2 Don back, so you've only really minused 1, but there goes your 2k counter. So it depends what's in your hand at the time and what is going to be the better option out of these 3. So that's all the ramp. Now we're just looking at the plain old good value cards. So Law is a fantastic card. It's probably, I swear it's going to be in every purple deck now, because what this card does on play, Don -1, if your opponent has 7 or more cards in hand, they have to trash 2 at random. So that is going to really punish people who forget to keep their hand size down, or it's going to, force them to keep their hand size down. So either way, very good hand control card there. And then it's a blocker, it's 5k power. 3 copies of Rush Zoro. I've got the new art, I've got the old art. I like both the arts. Just Rush Zoro, just like the red-green Law, you can shambles out a Rush Zoro, and that's great value. Or you could pay him for 3, use that 3 Don to minus on your leader ability, play something else, but either way, you're getting some Rush Zoro action. And then finally, just for some event counters, a bit of defense, because there isn't too much defense in this deck, 4 copies of Guard Point and 1 copy of the Radical Beam. I'm really preferring 1-cost event counters these days. Like I said at the top, I play this deck very low to the ground, I would say. What I mean by that is I'm using my leader ability every turn, so I'm getting pretty low on Don, but it's very aggressive. I get a big board. I think this deck is very good in this meta right now. In set 5, while the deck does get better, the meta also becomes tougher for this deck to hang, because there's a lot more removal and you end up losing all your resources you just went to the effort of minusing so much done for. So there you go, there is the deck profile. I've been having a lot of success playing it on the sim, and that's the way the sim works. You know, because these cards weren't legal at the time, I had to test against set 5 opposition, and it's doing well against set 5 even without the set 5 support. So I haven't looked into how I will build it in set 5 yet, because I wanted to be practicing for now. But even still, without the set 5 support, it's very good deck, very aggressive. It is low to the ground, so there's nothing big in here. So you just small, lots of rapid attacks. So that will do it for today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Coming up soon, we've got set 5 on the way, so I'll be doing however many boxes I buy unboxing, hopefully 5. I'm finding 5 to be a good number, and any deck profiles that I come up with will be on the way as well. Bellow Betty is really fun, so look out for deck profile on her, and I'll see you guys later.